Greetings all. I hope the wind is not driving you nuts. I do apologize, but we have to get this done and dusted. So here we are at the Cove in our favorite little town, favorite little beach, but we've got a wind running. It's spring low tide, and I'm coming to tell you all about the Biltong saga. So we have a video prepared, but I needed to do an intro. Here I am telling you about Biltong. That South African delicacy. Some people call it a snack, but I think it's a little bit more than a snack. So following on from this, we've done the whole video and the preparation and everything. And what I want to say is everything is always sanitized, everything is always done safely, everything is always done to the highest possible standards of cleanliness. However, as this is a meat product, things can go wrong, go wrong, go wrong, go wrong, go wrong. For now though, I'm going to have myself a taster here, and so is the son going to have a taster, and there you can hear me taking a bite. But what I do want to say is do enjoy the video, and do not start World War III by telling me I didn't do this right or that right or the next thing. Differences of opinion and the differences of this and the differences of that, and this one says you got to do it this way and that one says you got to do it that way, but we'll just leave it like that. And now I'm going to have a wee slurp of wine, and after that I'm going to say thank you for watching. But hold on, we first have a slurp of wine. As you can see, it's a bit of Pinot right out of the heart of the Western Cape.
What part is that from then, Jimmy?
Just silver size down on the hind quarter.
Yeah, here.
Next to the rump.
Yes, that's perfectly correct.
So
taking this, yes.
Yeah, you take that off for me, please, Jimmy, and then tell me what that weighs, and then I'll decide if we need a bit more or a bit less.
You're right.
Please, sir.
No problem. It's not a problem.
Okay, the voice you're hearing in the background is Jimmy's voice. Now I'm going to show you Jimmy's shop exterior, and if he gives me permission, I'll lift the camera so that he can smile at us. Jimmy, do you want to smile at us?
Smile, yeah.
There we go. There we go. Another smile, Jimmy. There we go. Anyway, Jimmy supplies the meat. Now, some time ago, in about March or April, I wrote an article about Jimmy and the meat.
Now, in all that, you have just 5.6 kg.
Okay.
You don't have to take all that.
No, I need to take about 5 maximum.
Right.
My box doesn't make much more.
You tell me where I take a piece
if-
off that.
If you cut, can you cut? Is it bad to cut like that?
No.
Yes, if you cut like that, because the length of it,
Yeah.
there we go. That's terrific. Jimmy, I thank you very, very much. Oh,
that okay, bossy?
yes, that
You happy
looks
with that?
terrific. Thank you, Jimmy.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, as I was saying, I wrote a little piece about Jimmy, and he's hearing about making biltong for about 3 years, and he never believed me until one day, not early on in this year, I walked in and I astounded him, and I took a lump of meat home. And since then we've taken quite a few more lumps of meat home. So there we go. This is turning into biltong. As I said, there's Jimmy, there's the butcher, there's Jimmy the butcher, and there's the meat, for sure. Cheers! You've seen us visit Jimmy's, you've seen us get the meat. You've heard me refer to the article I wrote some months ago, which I'll put the link up there somewhere. But for now, first step, coriander and black pepper. Coriander, you must toast the seeds. This is a part of the tradition to get the flavor, the toasty flavor through. Now, whole coriander is a scarce commodity at this point in time here by us. I had to walk to 2 different stores before I found the coriander. There's 60 milliliter of coriander in here, and I put 50 milliliter of whole peppercorns in here. These will go into the mortar and pestle later, together with the salt. I use sea salt. We've got a mixture here. My sea salt's a bit low, so I'm going to add some pink salt. So totally for this batch, we've got about 4.5 kilogram of beef. So we need about 100 milliliters of coriander. Total black pepper about 20 milliliters, roughly 100 milliliters of salt. So I will make up the coriander with fine coriander. It works 2 ways. So you've got the bulk with the fine coriander. The fine coriander also adheres easier to the meat when we cut the strips. Then we will add our secret ingredients. Everybody claims to have a secret ingredient to their biltong mix. My secret ingredient is usually chili powder, a bit of paprika, smoked paprika, a bit of garlic, as in the form of flakes. The principle I use for making biltong, and worst and dry worst for that matter, is the KISS principle. Keep it simple. Simply because my grandfather used to say, every Afrikaner will want his own church, his own school, his own political party, and I suppose every Afrikaner would want to claim to have his own recipe for biltong and dry wors. Now, the beauty of this lot is when it just starts getting smoky, or by smell, you can remove this. You don't want to burn it. So I'm not seeing smokiness yet, but come back later after I've mixed and mashed and minced and cut the beef up. I'll show you the beef strips before we lay them in, and I'll mention the vinegar. For now, let me add this and add the grinding. Fundamentals about the cutting. You've got to cut with the grain. You don't cut across the grain, because then you ruin your piece of meat. So I'm going to start here. I'm not going to keep you here while I do all the cuts. There's the spice mix. I may have put some secret ingredients in there. I may not have. There may be garlic in there. There may not be garlic in there. My vinegar mix is 40%, roughly 40% brown vinegar, 40% white vinegar, and 20% cider vinegar. The cider vinegar is what makes it cloudy. The mix is good. It's not one of those strong mixes that really wind you up, or that spoils the meat. Okay, so the case with coriander, why that's so important, it's an antiseptic. It acts as a cleansing agent, and apparently it keeps flies away, that kind of thing, although this biltong is not going to hang outside. So it is important to know why we use the thing. Salt obviously is a preservative, and the vinegar has the same properties. Once again, the flavoring you add, that's your secret. Those are your secret ingredients. Okay, I'll show you when I lay this meat in. These are the smaller bits of meat. There's enough of them, about half of the piece. So there's a good 2 kilos of meat. Those are the larger pieces of meat. I've already sprinkled a layer of spices in the bottom of the tub, and I'm going to start laying them in now. So what happens now is you lay them in tightly as possible, because we're going to layer them crisscross. So find yourself a nice pattern here, and then you put them in as tightly as possible. So let's get to the bigger pieces, and I had a thin one here somewhere to fit in there. Okay, now before we do anything more, we add a layer of our vinegar. Spray it on, don't drench it. Just spray on the vinegar. And then we take another good handful and we spread it on the meat, and as you can hear there, that's the salt clattering against the sides. Right, now we go crisscross and we continue layering until we've layered all the meat in this fashion, and we filled all the holes with thin slithers like so. I've got a tiny little slither here somewhere. These tiny slithers work well because they tasters. Chef's pieces. Biltong manufacturer's delight when he can start sneaking pieces out. Right, so the process is repeated until all the meat is laid in here. I specifically bought a tub that seals, and it seals pretty well. When we're done with this, it's going into the fridge for at least 12 hours. Now I've learned with my mix, my vinegar is not overpowering, so I can leave it for a good 14 to 16 hours to sort of bump the flavor up. I've also learned that in the beginning I was very afraid of over spicing, but once you pull this out just before you hang it, you give it 1 or 2 taps and the excess falls off, and you have biltong of a very high quality with a great taste. So I'll be finishing this off now, and then I'll get you back in when I am ready to hang this in the biltong box. Then I'll explain what happens in the biltong box, and we wait then impatiently for our biltong to cure. We won't dry it. We don't dry biltong, we cure it. So it's time to just give the biltong box a quick sterilize. As you can see there, we use this. Make sure you do all the surfaces in the box, and then we let it air and dry out, and then I'll go and switch it on and let the fan extract through and get rid of all the potential residual smell before I hang the biltong. The sound you're hearing is the fan running. There's the light bulb. That's a 40 watt light bulb. The function of the light bulb is actually just to heat the air a little bit. The warmer the air is, the more moisture it will retain. In other words, if you heat the air, it captures the moisture in the air, and then the fan, which is this side, it's a little PC fan, draws that air out. Now you can see from the rungs on the top of the box, they recessed, there you go, from the edge, so that there's space between the lid and the top for hanging the meat. So that will be our next step. In a short while we'll get the meat hung. I'm going to put the lid back on now so that we can just draw out the last of the potential residual smells from the sterilizing fluid. There shouldn't be any, but Just give it a few minutes and that will heat up the box as well, and then we'll hang the meat. Okay, so I've hung all the meat. This row here, and these three rows have got your biggest pieces of meat. Those have got chunky bits, but they're short. Those have got 2 tiny bits. Those are starters, tasters, to see how the light affects. And then there's some more pickers here for the yours truly. Okay, as you can see, the meat must not touch. That's to prevent mold. Another thing quickly for you, I didn't mention, I use paper clips. Plastic coated paper clips for hooks. They get reused, they get sanitized as well. Everything is as clean as possible. And I would like to think that come Saturday afternoon, this is Thursday afternoon, so 48 hours later, I might see how one of these little pieces go down to either adjust the temperature supplied by the light or the extract. Now my next step will be to build a box that's got a variable speed fan. For now, that's your 4.6 kilogram of beef. Very, very lean beef this time round. Sometimes, well, I actually do like fat, so I should have taken more notice when Jimmy gave me this piece. It looked like it had a half decent layer, but I was talking too much rubbish while I was recording instead of looking. Right, as I say, we'll come and look 48 hours later. In fact, I'll come and look 24 hours later, more or less. I check off regularly for mold. I've never ever had mold in the box, and that's because the warm air is extracted, so you heat the air to absorb more of the moisture, and then you extract. Okay, lid going back on now. I won't keep on boring you to tears. Progress check. 22 odd hours. Just look at that. It all looks very, very good and promising. No signs of mold. All going well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying with us the process and the procedure. So, cheers for now. Stay safe, stay free, be happy.